Prairie Mosaic is funded by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund with money from the vote of the people of Minnesota on November 4th, 2008, the North Dakota Council on the Arts, and by the members of Prairie Public.
Welcome to Prairie Mosaic, a patchwork of stories about the arts, culture, and history in our region.
Hi, I'm Barb Gravel.
And I'm Matt Olien. On this edition of Prairie Mosaic, we'll get an up-close view of prairie chickens, learn about a lakes organization, and hear music from the Pat Lenertz Band. The art of Warli is something most people are not familiar with, but a variety of organizations have come together to create a project involving this style of art from India that includes kids, elder care residents, and even zoo animals.
Art is a great tool for healing. It relaxes you, you are not under any pressure, it's a very therapeutic activity.
This project, I sometimes refer to it as the wonderful world of Warli. It all started with the conversation about the art of an artist, Warli Project, who was from India, who was living in Fargo.
When you talk with people about, okay, we have this project that involves Warli art by this artist Warli from India, and we're going to bring in elders, and we're going to bring in kids, and we're going to bring in animals from the zoo, they look at you like, this is crazy.
We felt that this artwork would be an excellent choice for sharing with elders in the Art for Life program because Warli art, it's a traditional art, it's very simple. It originates in the western part of India, and it uses a lot of geometry, basic shapes, triangles, circles, lines. There's a lot of animals in it.
Troy had emailed me some quotes from Kipling's Jungle Book, and he thought it would be really cool to incorporate the lettering into the picture, along with some illustrations that are similar in style to the Warli art, and then leave space for the children, the senior citizens, and then the animals as well to all contribute to a final collaboration.
We've had a tour to elder care facilities around the state for about 1.5 years now, and schools come in to the elder care facility and interact with the kids and the animals and do those activities and the paintings with them. We were able to come up with these ideas and activity plans based on Warli that would help create engagement for elders, help create intergenerational interaction, and help bring together animals for animal-assisted activities.
It's that spontaneity that an animal can bring, that unexpected excitement, and residents just light up. When we have pets and different animals in the building, they really enjoy them. So this particular project, having art involved, which is magical, pets, which bring that spark, and the children, all three together is just amazing.
The Warli art has a lot of animals in their paintings, and they've done it for all the years that Warli has been around. And so to do the geometric shapes of the animals and to have with the people in the painting, it just made sense that, hey, let's show this enthusiastic group the real animals. Let's get the animals involved and bring them out to the assisted living and to the nursing homes, and it's been a really nice project. It's a happy project.
I think that the most incredible part of this project has been placing the exhibition in the elder care centers. It's a completely new thing that they haven't done, and to see it change the facility and to change the way people look at their facility when that original art's there, it creates dialogue, not only for the elders, but for the staff.
With animal-assisted activities and art activities, for the elders, their gait speed, for instance, improves. How fast they walk, their balance improves, and their emotional well-being improves. You just see them light up. When we went to Enderlin and they brought in the llama, Reese. Everybody loves Reese. And they talked about Reese, the kids and elders interacted with Reese, but then they took Reese around to the other rooms for adults who could not get out. And when they walked into the rooms with that llama, even if they couldn't even get out of bed, they had the biggest smile on their face. That interaction is really powerful.
Are you ready to go, go, go?
A spin off the animals, we decided we would collaborate with the Chahinkapa Zoo in Wahpeton.
Well, you saw the snake. His part in the painting was that the children had painted a background that had snakes in it, so what a better way to put a real snake skin transfer in there. On all of these paintings, we use non-toxic paint. Of course, we did Tal the orangutan. And Tal is a true artist, where he does use the artist brushes. This isn't a transfer, it's actually art. We noticed that Tal enjoyed doing some of those things years ago, so we incorporated him in painting for his daily enrichment or his weekly enrichment. And of course, we had the rhinos. We have white rhinos at Chahinkapa Zoo. And these animals that we use today in our paintings are all ones that are a big part of our conservation programs. And to have that texture of the rhino skin on some Warli art was absolutely, it's breathtaking.
The animals are great too. Animals are so random and you never know exactly what you're going to get, but each animal contributed to each picture and I think they all turned out just perfect.
This project ends in Jamestown with a big festival with dancing and everything else. Traditional arts and music, things like that, and food from India.
We also added another component, which was to have children and community members participate in the exhibit by creating luminaries in the Warli style. And from the beginning, we always wanted to create the facsimile of a Warli dome or a Warli house.
We are going to be offering this exhibit and touring it to other elder care facilities in our state. And we are hoping to expand this outreach, this kind of collaboration between the council, the zoo, Art for Life, elder care facilities, and schools to reach other zoos.
It is what life is about. When you get here, you know you have a mission to introduce the animals, but when you start interacting with the people and you see their faces light up, it's a day maker for us.
There are so many stories where we talk to relatives and staff that will say something like, I have never seen this person smile. They don't want to come out of their room, they don't want to interact, and they're clapping and they're moving and they're painting and they thank us for doing it. It is by far the most rewarding thing I have ever done in the arts.
Taking care of Minnesota's lakes is something that benefits all of us. The Lake Detroiters organization recently celebrated their 75th anniversary. Their history is one of stewardship, love, and progress.
I like everything about living on the lake. The swimming, the fishing, the boating, the view. It's just a fun, fun place to live. I wouldn't live anyplace else.
It's our Lake Detroiters Association 75th anniversary. We're going to celebrate the impact that Lake Detroit has had on not only the county, but the region. Our family has been on Lake Detroit since the 50s. My grandfather and my grandmother came over here from Fargo and settled on the west side of Little Detroit, and I say that's the nicest spot on the lake, and we've been there ever since.
Our theme this year for our 75th anniversary is love, honor, and own the lake. And that's what all our members try to do. We've worked extremely hard in trying to eradicate weeds, and we've worked with the legislature.
Lake Detroiters grew out of a predecessor organization called the Lake Detroit Property Owners Association that was formed in 1944. That organization did not survive very well, owing to a death of some of the leadership. And the organization was converted to the Lake Detroiters Association in 1949. We have approximately 390 members as of a few months ago. They had a big start. They ended up with 140 members in the first year, and they did quite a heroic thing right at the beginning. They were focused a little more, not so much on the erosion issue, but rather on the weed problems and algae problems that were beginning to confront the lakes around here.
The museum plays a really important role in local anniversaries because we've been gifted many pictures over the years. We have lots of documents and advertisements, and really it's all subject to the items that we've been able to collect or items that have come in from individuals, whether they're residents or past residents. And moving forward, I think that museums are recognizing they need to do a little more due diligence on capturing history as it's happening. When we look back and we're looking at those older records, we've really done the call out for various anniversaries, and the most recent one being the Lake Detroiters anniversary. We have lots of lake photos. Little plug though, if you're taking photos and you want to think about donating those someday, make sure you document who's in them and what year it is.
We're the single biggest impact to the state legislature from a lobbying standpoint. So realize that every lake owner throughout Minnesota may pay $10, $20 to be a member of our lake association. Our dues are $25, pretty modest. But we do a myriad of things with those dollars, working with AIS, working with the weed control, and any impact that the lake may have to its residents.
The public beach was completed in 1965. There were two forces involved. One was the need to kind of clean up the beach. The other thing is that the city was dumping its stormwater into the lake. All the streets come downhill to the lake, and the water just came down the hill and went into the lake. It's not only an attractive amenity for the community, but it also serves an important water quality function. And Lake Detroiters was very much in support of that.
When our forefathers put that beach in and had the foresight to take that land and put that city beach in, I mean, that was a game changer. That was just huge. City water and sewer was a game changer when they did that throughout the lakes area back in the 70s. Other lake associations are studying that, but the cost is so insurmountable now. I'm glad we did that in the 70s.
We've moved largely into an educational and informational role, partly because the state and the Pelican River Watershed District has imposed a lot of restrictions on lakefront development and the use of lakes. There's not a lot that lake associations can do that directly addresses the problems. So what lake associations can do is to improve the climate of understanding of what's happening.
One of the ways we increase our membership is by sending out beach captains. Every beach has a captain, and a beach consists of maybe 10, 20 homeowners. And we get beach captains together at a meeting. We give them information to give to the homeowners, and we include the homeowners' recommendations and comments about what they care about, and that comes back to the Lake Detroiters. And then we try and deal with the issues that the homeowners are really worried about.
I lived a lot of places around the world and around the States, but I never missed a summer. So when we contemplated retiring, it was not a hard choice for us to choose to come to Detroit Lakes.
The lake is the backbone of the city, and the city is very helpful to us in projects that we want to do.
The lakes in our area, and Detroit Lake in particular, have really played a key role in the development of Detroit Lakes as a city. You sit down and you start talking about whether it's an industry such as ice harvest and how it played a really key part of the development in the early years to the community, or you talk about the Fargo-Moorhead area residents or the Minneapolis-St. Paul residents that vacation here and use it purely more recreational, all the way to those that have enjoyed living on the lake for a good portion of their life. And it's really the way they relax and come home and can't imagine life any other way.
Everybody is welcome. We feel we're stewards of that lake, but so are all the other visitors to the lake. We welcome them and hope they have a good time.
The Blue Stem Prairie grasslands near Glyndon, Minnesota is where you can find a ritual that's been going on as long as the now endangered prairie chicken has been around. It's where male prairie chickens gather to attract females.
My name is Brian Winter, and I'm responsible for protecting and managing grasslands that contain the remnant population of prairie chickens that Minnesota has. And so it was a natural progression for me to get involved with the Minnesota Prairie Chicken Society, and eventually I became, president of the organization. A prairie chicken is a bird in the grouse family that's roughly the size of even a barnyard chicken, a lot of people might be familiar with, or a mallard duck, or even a little smaller than a pheasant. They are very heavily barred with their feathers in terms of both males and females. They look alike if you just see them sitting in the grass with really great camouflage tans and browns and white colorations that blend into the brown grass quite well. But what really makes prairie chickens unique, I think, and make them kind of a humorous bird actually, is their display. When they gather in the spring on these booming grounds, the males have large, almost look like oranges that are attached to the side of their neck, and they inflate those. They have what look like rabbit ears, but scientifically they're called pinnae, and they're two large, distinct feathers that they erect above their head that look like rabbit ears. They drop their wings down, they fan their tail, they stomp their feet, and then they run around doing this crazy display, fighting with each other, trying to get the attention of females for the right to mate. And so they're a very colorful bird, particularly in the spring when the males are doing their best to attract a female to pass on the genes. When they're inflating those orange air sacs I talked about previously on the side of their neck, there's actually passing of the air that creates this, some people describe it like if you were to take an empty pop bottle and blow over the top, you get that kind of woo call. That's considered the booming sound they make. And that sound, amazingly, will carry for several miles. I do the survey for prairie chickens in the county, and I'll hear them sometimes, and then you need to try to find them and count them, and you'll think, oh, they're not too far over. I'll just take a little walk over there, and you keep going and going and going, and they wind up 1.5 miles from your vehicle because the sound carries so well. But besides that booming call that they make, they have a cackle call, which is they're just sitting there on the booming ground, just kind of repeatedly, I'm not even going to try to make it, but making this cackling sound. Within a booming ground, each male defends and they fight for the right to establish territory within the broader booming ground. So the big area is the booming ground, but then you need to think of it like a jigsaw puzzle. There's these odd-shaped pieces that belong to each male individually, and they fight. The bigger the piece of the booming ground you have, the more likely a female that comes to the booming ground will be on your territory and give you the right to mate with her if she so chooses you. And it's kind of unique in that the biggest, most dominant males, the male prairie chickens, wind up in the middle of the booming ground with the smallest territory because they have to defend it from all sides. There's a lot of prairie chickens trying to get to the middle, and research has shown that over 80% of the breeding of prairie chickens occurs in that middle zone. And then they have a whooping call, which usually is reserved for when there are actually females on the ground. So the males spend a lot of time on a booming ground by themselves. There's no females there. And they display and fight and do things that males do. But when the females show up, then they kind of whoop, 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 whoop. I think it's more of a, of a cat call, if you will, to the female to, come over here, come to my little piece of this booming ground and, see if you like me. The people that use the blind are from all over the country and really other countries we've had in the prairie chicken blinds. And they're usually full from the 1st of April to the middle of May, which is kind of the time frame that we typically reserve the blind because that's the best time frame to ensure that you're going to see a really active display from the males. Well, I think that what the average person can do is to, one, learn more about prairie chickens and grasslands and learn what's happened, learn that history, some of which we've talked about here. But my sort of hidden agenda, I guess I would say, is that if you appreciate prairie chickens, you have to appreciate grass and grassland habitat, and thereby grassland conservation, because you cannot have prairie chickens if you don't have large blocks of grassland habitat. And so I think if people have really positive experiences and are appalled, as I am, with the thought that we may not have prairie chickens someday, that they should provide assistance through legislative efforts, through funding, through support in the community, that these grassland preserves, these grassland nature preserves, do provide a tremendous benefit. When I sit in the blind, it's amazing to me to have this primeval ceremony where these prairie chickens are gathering on this booming ground, and off at the distance, only 15 miles away, you see all the lights of Fargo-Moorhead. So you have all that civilization in the background as you're looking out the blind with these birds doing this display that they've done for thousands of years, literally tens of thousands of years, right here on the Nature Conservancy's Bluestem Prairie. And so if people want that display and those booming grounds to carry on, it's going to take support for grassland conservation. That's, I think one of the key things that is positive for the future of prairie chickens.
The Pat Lenertz Band is a group of seasoned musicians who love to entertain. Pat's raw and powerful vocals complete their amazing presentation.
Leave your pain
If you know of an artist, a topic, or an organization in our region that you think might make for an interesting segment, please contact us at prairiemosaic@prairiepublic.org.
You can watch this and other episodes of Prairie Mosaic on Prairie Public's YouTube channel and follow Prairie Public as well on social media. I'm Matt Olien.
And I'm Barb Gravel. Thank you for joining us for this edition of Prairie Mosaic.
Prairie Mosaic is funded by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund with money from the vote of the people of Minnesota on November 4th, 2008, the North Dakota Council on the Arts, and by the members of Prairie Public.